Good morning, students. Today we are going to read a very new topic in Islamiyat, that is Qiyas or analogy. So we will try to grip this topic by making different kinds of the questions from different angles. This is very important topic. So concentrate yourself. The first question in this topic is in what circumstances do Muslims allow the use of the qiyas analogy with example? To get A grade in this type of question is show the need of the qiyas as a source of the Islamic law. Show how Quran and Sunnah approves its use. And give examples of the circumstances in which it is employed. So concentrate yourself now. Qiyas is the fourth and most dependent source, asal, of the Islamic law. This is secondary source of the Islamic law since it depends on the primary sources, Quran and Sunnah. Literally, qiyas means measuring or comparing with or judging by comparing. In Islamic jurisprudence, Sharia, qiyas is a process of deduction by which the law of the text, nas, is applied to cases which have not been clearly covered by the other three sources of the Islamic law. Thus, it is extended to the cases or matters not explicitly covered by the Quran and the Sunnah on the grounds of a material similarity in the nature of the two cases. The material similarity is termed as illah or effective cause. So by taking the illah of the Quran or the Sunnah as absolute, we identify the existence of the same illah in the new case and then decide similarly. In the Quran, we find a number of the verses where God has enjoined us to use our brains and reasoning. For instance, in 59:2, the Quran asks us to utilize our insight in order to learn lessons. Then take admonition, O you with insight. There are four pillars of analogy. Number one, asal, the original subject against which the new subject is compared. Number two, far, the new subject which is the object of the analogy. Number three, illah, the cause which brings together the original subject and the new subject for analogy. And the last, hukam, the rule arrived at by analogy. The conditions of the analogy are: the decision arrived at must be based upon Quran, Hadith or Ijma. Number two, the decision arrived at must not be contrary to Quran and Hadith. Third condition is the practice upon which it is founded must be common. And the fourth condition is the cause must be the compelling factor. It should also be apparent, complete in itself, and not hidden or ambiguous. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, while dispatching Mu'adh bin Jabal as the governor of Yemen, asked him as to how he would judge the cases. His reply was from the Book of God. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked him if he did not find a clear solution therein. He replied that he would look to the Sunnah. The Holy Prophet ﷺ further asked him that if he still found no answer from the Sunnah, what would he do? Upon this, Mu'adh said that he would decide by exercising his own judgment on this. The Holy Prophet ﷺ was pleased and he prayed for Mu'adh. This shows the Holy Prophet ﷺ approval for using Qiyas. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Judge upon the book of God. If you do not find in it what you need, upon this Sunnah of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and if you do not find in that also, then use your personal opinion." Another example is nail polish should be removed in order to perform wuzu. As Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu Anha said that the dried flour on the nails should be removed in order to perform wuzu. Another example is when a woman came to Holy Prophet ﷺ and asked that her mother, who had solemnly declared to perform Hajj, had died before doing so. She asked if it was necessary to perform Hajj on her mother's behalf. The Prophet ﷺ paused for a while and then said, "Verily, what would you do if she had left debts repayable? Naturally, you would pay." Here the illah is the fulfillment of the obligation. Another classic example of the application of the Qiyas is the method of manufacturing alcohol. When the verses declaring khamr, wine, as haram were revealed, alcohol was prepared from date palms or wine grapes. As new methods were discovered to manufacture alcohol, for example vodka, all alcoholic drinks were declared haram or forbidden because the illah or common ground between all forms is that they all cause intoxication. Another example of the Qiyas is the validity of use of the clean sand to remove any impurity from the body or clothes of a believer. The Quran allows use of the clean sand in 443 to perform wuzu, ablution, in order to attain purity before offering prayer. Accordingly, by analogy, clean sand is allowed to be used to remove impurity as long as water is not available. Thus, an important issue regarding purity was resolved by relying on the Qiyas. Another type of the question that may come in this topic is, show how Quran should be used in the exercise of the Qiyas analogy. Qiyas is the fourth source of the legal thinking in Islam. Literally, it means to measure or measure by comparison or analogy. In Islamic Sharia, it means exercise of an individual scholar to deduce one principle from another by comparing them together. It is a form of the ijtihad as it is used when other sources are silent about a new situation. For Qiyas is exercised in the light of the primary sources, the Quran and the Sunnah, which are the asal, root, basic in Islamic lawmaking. For example, the Quran asal says, when the call is proclaimed to prayer on Friday, hasten to the remembrance of the God and leave off business transaction. The asal, Quran, forbids sales transaction only for the Friday prayer. Question arose about other non-sales transactions. This was a new challenge or far. The legal experts compared the asal with the far and found out the analogy similarity called illa, and that was that all transactions, trade and non-trade, can distract the believers from the remembrance of God, which is the focus of all Muslims. They therefore reached a final decree or hukam that all sorts of the transactions should be set aside on hearing the azan, call for prayer, on Friday so that no Muslim could miss the important weekly congregation. This is how the Quran is used in the exercise of the Qiyas analogy. Another type of the question that may come in this topic is, why do some legal scholars reject the use of the analogy Qiyas? Analogy or Qiyas is the fourth and most dependent source of the Islamic law that is employed in legal thinking when other sources, Quran, Sunnah and Ijma, are silent about a new and challenging situation, that is called far. It took its origin from Iraq, that was emerging as a new center of the legal thinking in the early history of the Islam. The community of the Medina therefore was reluctant to acknowledge Qiyas as a source of the Islamic law. It was because Qiyas involves too much individual exercise and the scholar has to exert a lot of the intellectual effort to find the material similarity, illa, in order to establish a final ruling, that is called hukam. Such an individual effort may create confusion and conflicts in some cases. Moreover, the Shia scholarly community relies on an alternative to Qiyas, the akal or reasoning. A Shia mujtahid, doctor of the Islamic law, is empowered to issue a ruling, decree, without finding a similarity or illa between the asal ruling of the primary sources and the far new situation. So this was the topic. Read it again very carefully. This is very important topic and make your notes. Thank you so much.